Lately I've been thinking about this life and how it brought me here. Staring at this man in the mirror, I see him often here. Wipe my tears, only if you knew what I was going through. Only if you walked it in my shoes. Certain things don't like to talk about, but I'll always remember. The chaos in my mind turned my heart out in November. I'm surrounded by too many doors, not sure which way I entered. But I'm rocking with my loved ones, let you know that front and center. Found out my skin's tough as leather, I can storm through any weather. Addiction was the hardest battle I ever endeavored. It takes a lot of effort to apply all of this pressure. Being higher than propellers only drove me through the shredder. I need some hope right now.
Welcome to the Message Hope Podcast, where the hope stands for hearing other people's experience. My name is Adam.
My name is Mike, and today we have a guest on the podcast that we've been trying to get since before this was a podcast. And we finally got him here. He's unlike any other individual I know.
Yeah.
One of a kind.
For sure.
Loyal motherfucker.
Yep. 100%.
Gasper, welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah.
And Gasper, so you got 13 years. Mm-hmm. So you had 2 years clean when I got clean. Mm-hmm. And you were a big part of the first introduction to the rooms of recovery and all that stuff. And you were, and still are, such a big pillar. And again, one of the most loyal people that you ever know, right? Gasper's one of those people, you either fucking love him or you can't stand him. You know what I'm saying? That's just reality, right?
Yeah.
But if you know him, you absolutely love him because of his loyalty, his service that he does for everybody. You know, if you have a barbecue, he's cooking. Not only is he cooking, he's setting up chairs, he's breaking chairs down, he's cleaning tables, he's just doing everything you could think of, man. And I want to just say, like, on this platform, like, how grateful I am that you are here. You are one of the few men that I truly believe I couldn't be who I am today if you weren't in the rooms. And a lot of times we get clean for ourselves, but we don't know the impact we're going to have on the next man or woman that walks into the room. And you're just one of those guys, bro, that has such a huge impact in early recovery. And there was some of it, like, was like, if this sick motherfucker, if this fucking angry mother, like, because I was sick, I was angry, I was fucking disgruntled, I was all that stuff. But I remember just thinking, like, if this fool could do it, if he could deal with what he deals with and stays clean, then why the fuck can't I? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just appreciate you. I love you. And you know, both of us, me and Mike, really want to thank you for coming on to this podcast. And, yeah, bro.
Thank you.
And for me, my first experience with Gasper, see, Gasper, once he's thinking about letting you in, he checks your paperwork. He's like, "Hey, where'd you run around at? Who'd you know?" And it just so happens that me and Gasper know some of the same people. And he's like, "All right, this fool's all right." He probably called him and checked with them too. It was like, "What's up with this dude, Mike?" Paperwork came back, it was good, and you know, it's been like that ever since. You know, so hell yeah, Gasper, thank you for coming.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys. You know, you guys, even though you guys are newer than me, you know what I mean? Well, Adam, he has 10 years, you know what I mean? 11 now. And, you know, you're coming up on 2 or 3.
Yeah.
3, right?
Yeah,
Mike?
I'll have 3 next.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah. It's just, you guys inspire me with your recovery and early on how you guys have actually took on commitments, you know what I mean, in the dedication to the rooms, you know what I mean, and being of service. It still inspires me, you know what I mean, and that's what keeps me going. The people underneath me keeps me going forward, you know what I mean. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.
So Gasper, tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how you grew up.
So, I grew up here in San Bernardino. My people have been here since 1786. When San Bernardino was Alta California, Mexico. It is now California in the United States. My people settled here early on, and I have a great-great-great-grandmother who had a bunch of kids, and most of them were men. My grandpa was one of them, who fled here because during the war and the Depression, you know what I mean, in World War I and World War II, they were taking a lot of the people to war. She didn't want her kids to fight in the war. And so she split with her kids to another country, which is Mexico, and raised them there and kind of like hopped around a lot, you know what I mean? But I was born here in San Bernardino to both my parents. my mom's a native from here, and my dad is came here. He was brought here when he was 5, from Mexico, you know. And so like my upbringing, I was born. My dad was in the military. I have one sibling, my brother, and my brother was born when my dad was in the service. My dad's a Vietnam vet. And early on, you know, I mean, my dad, he, how could you say, he was one of the founders of the neighborhood I'm from. You know what I mean? It's a clique now. I mean, it's actually a clique that is no longer around. But that's how it all started. There were social clubs back in the days. You know what I mean? And like early on, I grew up knowing my dad was a social butterfly, I guess you could say. Not even a butterfly, but just he was a playboy, you know what I mean, social guy, you know what I mean? Because like in the 70s, you know, I was born in 74, and in the 70s, you know what I mean, they had parties at my pad, you know what I mean, hippie type shit, long hair, smoking marijuana, drinking and doing all the thing, you know, and so I grew up here, and my family's been deep and rooted here for a lot of years, and you know, I can remember till like the age of maybe 3, walking around, and I had uncles that drank Strawberry Hill, Boone's Farm. So I was an addict way before I even knew I was an addict, you know what I mean? And the disease of addiction had already had me by the balls, bro, you know what I mean? Because like they thought it was cool to smoke marijuana around us and pour fucking Boone's Farm in my bottle and fucking watch me walk around with my bottle and fucking stumble on the ground and shit, and it was cool to them, you know what I mean? I think, you know, and I too am guilty of that because, you know what I mean, early on, you know what I mean, my first child, I was a teenager, and I used to teach my kid, hey, what's up, throw up the IE and all that, and it's not until you get older that you understand that shit is bullshit, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, I grew up, my parents, I was born, and my dad and my grandma had a house on the west side, and of San Bernardino, and when I was born, they brought me home. My parents had just purchased a house on the east side of San Bernardino. And we lived there. I grew up on a street called Bonnie Street.
Bonnie.
There used to be a Bonnie Street gang back in the days, you know what I mean? And I had a lot of white boy friends, you know what I mean? And some SA friends, you know what I mean? Homies. And like, so like, you know what I mean? Life was good when my dad was in the home, you know what I mean? My dad was a private investigator and social worker for the welfare department. He worked for the welfare department for a while. My dad was a lot of things. He was a finisher, concrete finisher. He was a lot of things. And so my dad gets hurt on his job, you know, and we're growing up, and I had the Evel Knievel bike, the Power Wheel, 3-wheel, what's it called?
The big wheel?
Big wheel, 3-wheel, big wheels, you know what I mean? We ran around, and I had a bunch of little friends in that area. And then came the money, right? And we had good Christmases. You know, it was a regular home. You know, I mean, the alcohol was a problem in my home because my dad was an alcoholic. And being in the military, you know what I mean, he had to stuff them feelings of killing people, you know what I mean, doing all the things that he's done, you know what I mean, and hard to deal with, and you know what I mean, and so early on I witnessed a lot of abuse. He used to beat my mom, you know, and like my wife said, she had to step out in the hallway, and in the middle of beating my brother, I'd step out in the hallway, and he'd look at me and give me that fucking 1,000-yard stare and tell me, get the fuck back in the room, you know what I mean? And like, mind your own business, you know, type shit. And he never hit me. He used to beat my brother, though, you know what I mean? Because my brother was kind of bad. Me and my brother are 9 years apart. And I was a little fucking pest to my brother, you know what I mean? Who fucking followed him around everywhere and shit, you know? And so, like, he always got his ass kicked because he wasn't watching me. So, in return, you know, once my dad got that money, you know what I mean? He got hurt on a job, and he became a millionaire, you could say. You know what I mean? I can't elaborate on the exact amount. I think he brought like 2 point something home. And life changed. Money changes people, you know what I mean? And he did pay a mortgage for like maybe a year and a half ahead of time on the home. Bought a motor home, bought a new car, bought us ATCs, all these things. We went on vacations, Mexico, you know, to the desert and did all these things, you know what I mean? And while we were in Mexico, I guess he met some chick at the horse races, and he decided to grab this chick, and she was 20 years younger than him, and bring her to the States, you know what I mean? So he had this money, and he made arrangements over there, and she was here before we even got back here, you know what I mean? And I didn't discover until I was like 9 that chick was gonna be my stepmom, and that she was pregnant with a set of twins. So my dad was already working for the as a social worker for the welfare department, and he knew how he was gonna do. My dad was very smart. At 8 years old, my parents divorced because my mom finds out that my dad was cheating on her. And all that stuff in Mexico took place, you know what I mean? And that there was someone here because my mom would go get the mail, and he was sending food stamps to our home in that chick's name. My dad was a social worker. So social workers have caseloads, right? And so what he did is he was smart enough to have that lady here and slowly but surely bring her family here with kids.
Right.
And he was their social worker, and he would give them checks, the 1st and the 15th, food stamps, and cash aid. And he would get a portion of that money. So he was embezzling from the county. So what ended up happening is my parents divorced at 8 years old. My mom thinks the house is paid for because she's not getting a mortgage payment. You know what I mean? There was like fucking $90,000 in the bank still that he was supposed to split with her. You know what I mean? It was like a 60-40 deal. She didn't get none of the money. You know what I mean? And her and my brother took a first loan out on the house to try and pay because they found out that the house wasn't paid for because that's what she was awarded. My dad took the motorhome, brand new car, and amongst a lot of other things, and left us high and dry, bro. You know what I mean? Went out to fucking where he was from. I mean, where he's from here, but I mean, went out to where he was living, Ontario, and started his family, bro. And he was awarded to pick us up. Well, my brother was already 18. He was awarded to pick me up on the weekends, and I'd stand at the door crying, you know what I mean? Because he'd call and say, hey, you know what I mean, I'm going to come pick you up, and fucking never show up.
Right.
Leave me with my suitcase, you know what I mean? No, he doesn't love me. And then I you know, it wasn't until later on that I understood that was an abandonment, right? And there were issues later on in life that I had to deal with, you know what I mean, the abandonment. And like, so that took place. And then I got to be able to manipulate. My mom waited a year before she picked up this dude, you know what I mean? And that dude was like fucking, they were both fucking in their 40s. My mom and dad were both in their 40s or 50s, 40s, you know, late 30s, early 40s, being with someone 20 years fucking younger, you know what I mean? Robbing the cradle. Sick individuals, right? That's what I see it, you know what I mean? Like fucking, how's a fucking 40-year-old man gonna be with a 20 or 18, 19-year-old chick, you know what I mean? I mean, it happens. But, so yeah, my mom was 40 and my stepdad was 25, 20. And she was trying to get her needs met, I guess, you know what I mean? And fucking dude was hooking her up, you know what I mean? So she ended up having a kid, you know, my sister. And I was a baby of the family, you know what I mean? At least I thought it was going to be, you know what I mean? So I held a resentment towards my mom when she brought that baby home. And I beat the dog shit out of my stepdad's fucking car, broke his windows, spit in his face. You name it, bro. You know what I mean? I was fucking an angry little kid. So the divorce took place at 8, 9 is when all this other stuff started to take place. And then comes the abuse for me. Physically, mentally, and some sexual abuse. And I say that because, like, you know, people in their families, you know, I mean, there's these generational curses that need to be fucking broken. You know what I mean? And like, I didn't know till later on when I started to share with a couple of other people in my family, like, oh, you too? It was like the Me Too movement. Yeah. Really? I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And right is right and wrong is wrong, dog. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and they say, oh, since that took place with you, maybe you are one. No, fuck you. You got me fucked up. So what happened was it turned that abuse turned into a rage for me, right? Right. And I remember when my mom and dad divorced and my stepdad and my mom went up north to pick the fields, right? Because they had no work. And my stepdad said, well, I'll just we'll go up north, you know what I mean, and pick the fields because that's something my mom and my dad did early on in their fucking relationship. They ran away up north to pick the fields, right? Before my dad went to the military. And like, my mom remembered that, hey, you know, I mean, I can go back there and maybe fucking, you know, get some work. So they did that. And while we were up there, I have an uncle who married a white lady who's a Christian. And that lady took us to church in this little trailer. And that's the first understanding I knew of a God, right? Jesus. And she said, she opened this book and she goes, anybody guys know Jesus? This is Jesus. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. You can say this prayer after me and he'll come into your heart. And anytime you need him, you just cry out to him and he'll save you. So I said the sinner's prayer, you know what I mean? That prayer, you know what I mean? Come into my heart, you know what I mean? Da, 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 to get saved, right? And I felt a little bit different at the time, you know what I mean? And I was like, cool, you know what I mean? Like he said, he'll never leave you nor forsake you. So when you need help, he'll save you, you know? So when work ended up there, we worked there for like 3 or 4 months up there. We're living with my uncle and my mom's brother. And then we came back down here and they made enough money to get a place over here. And, you know, my mom, of course, at that time wanted to spend more time with her dude, you know what I mean? So she'd take me and drop me off at family, you know, oh, go stay over here at your uncles or stay over here at your cousins, hang out with your cousins or whatever. And, okay, you know, and one thing led to another. And that's when that stuff started taking place. But in the midst of all that, my brother was an angry little person too, you know, and hurt people. So like my brother got his ass beat by my dad and was kicked out at fucking 12 years old because he caught my brother fucking with marijuana in the room. I had these little dogs. You would tap the head of the dog and the dog would shake like that.
Yeah.
It was like on a swivel. And I went to hit it one day, bam, because every time I'd get angry, I'd go hit the dog and the motherfucker would go like that and I'd smile and laugh, you know what I mean, take the fucking anger away. And it didn't do it that day. So I grabbed the dog and I pulled the head off and I fucking seen this bag. And back then there were 4-finger lids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was a big old marijuana bag and my brother was fucking a stoner. So like he hung out with all the Robin Hood gang, the Bonnie Street gang, all them. He was a white boy, coconut, you know what I mean? Straight up fucking Mexican on the outside, but white as fuck on the inside, you know what I mean? He listened to fucking Van Halen, fucking Sammy Hagar, you know what I mean? Led Zeppelin, all that shit. So like that fool fucking, I grabbed the bag and I showed it to my dad. And my dad said, what the fuck? It's my house, you know what I mean? So he grabbed my brother and beat the dog shit out of him with the fucking broom and I felt bad, bro. Kicked him out and threw him out with all kinds of shit, you know what I mean? He was living on the street. And when my dad would go to work, my brother would come and jump the back fence, and my mom would feed him and fucking let him hang out a little bit and then fucking send him on his way because he couldn't be there at the house. So I held fucking some guilt, you know, and shame because like fucking I got him in trouble and I didn't mean to, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know any different. So later on in life, you know what I mean? He took, when my dad left, he took on the fucking quote unquote father role and used to beat the dog shit out of me. So like, I grew up on the east side of San Bernardino, kind of like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I lived on the east side of San Bernardino, but most of my residing, I'd fucking ride my bike just to get away from the east side, and I'd fucking ride over to the west side to my cousin's house. Most of my family are rooted on the west side. And so, like, I'd go over there and fucking hang out and, you know, do things over there, you know what I mean? And slowly but surely, like at 10 years old, I got put on the neighborhood. You know what I mean? And I would fucking ditch school, you know,
At 10 years old?
yeah,
Yeah,
10 years old, I was
Was
put
that
on the
normal
neighborhood.
back then?
Kind of, you know what I mean? So, like, there's a lot of people doing things, you know what I mean? And the neighborhood was active back then, you know what I mean? And so, like, so 10, around 11, you know what I mean? You know, I was hanging out with my cousins, and they live right down L Street, and they were like, hey, you know what I mean? Come on, fool. And I had this 10-speed, you know what I mean? And then, so my white boy friends from the east side, they smoked marijuana. That was their thing, you know what I mean? And them fools would fucking, they had money. The people over here had money, so I'd ride my bike over to the west side, and I'd hang out with my cousins, and they'd give me weed to sell, right? So, like, one time they were like, hey, fool, you know, go get that white boy over here, you know what I mean? So, like, bring him over here, you know what I mean? And they wanted to fucking, like, do low homes, you know what I mean? And fuck them up. And I said, nah, I'm not doing that, you know what I mean? They're my friends, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to do that to them. Fuck you fools. They get mad at me, right? And they started treating me different, you know what I mean? So, like, I learned early on, you know what I mean, with them, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the fitting in, you know what I mean? You know, so my mom wasn't able to afford fucking Levi's and fucking Vans, you know what I mean, or whatever. I had Pro Wings, fucking shoes and fucking Wrangler pants, you know what I mean, and a fucking shirt, you know what I mean? And so, like, I wanted, my white boy friends over here, they had fucking Bermuda shorts, fucking OP fucking shirts, you know what I mean? And fucking Flojo fucking shoes, you know what I mean? 80 shit, Jimmy Z pants, you know what I mean? Skater type shit, So I had a little mixture of both, you know what I mean? So I was doing things over here with these guys, and then I'd go over there, you know what I mean? But these guys had money over here, you know what I mean? So like I kind of like gravitated where the money was at, you know what I mean? And these guys were over here were a little more, you know what I mean? And once you got put on, homes, you know what I mean? So like I started hanging out more over here once I got put on, you know what I mean? And I think my first gig was we were in 8th Street Park, all kicking it right there, and then fools were smoking, passing Leño around, you know what I mean? And I was like, man, I'm not gonna fucking get all looped up, you know what I mean? I see this fool acting stupid, and so like back then you walk the line, and you get beat down, you know what I mean? You get jumped in, and then my brother was fucking me up pretty bad, you know what I mean? And like I wanted it to stop, you know what I mean? He'd fuck me up big time, you know what I mean? Because like I had cousins that lived in Meadowbrook. It's another little neighborhood right here, they call it East Side right here, and they lived on King Street, and they used to wear king hats, you know what I mean? And my cousin threw me a hat one day. He goes, "Here, fool, put that on, fool." And I put the hat on, and I went home with it. And my brother beat the dog shit out of me. He's like, "Motherfucker, you're gonna be from Meadowbrook, King Street, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop." And I said, "You're fucking tripping. They just gave me the hat to wear." Nah, fucking take it. He took it and threw it in the trash. So like, he was like, "Do as I say, not as I do," or some type shit. You know what I mean? Like a hypocrite. You know what I mean? You're gonna do what the fuck I'm telling you to do, but at the same time, you know what I mean? He's doing shit that he didn't want me to do. You know what I mean? Excuse me. And so like I had this buddy named Jay. I went to school with in elementary. We were like in 6th grade. And my brother would he worked at this place called Rogers Bindery back in the days, and he was like the fucking big time seller there. You know what I mean? He had all his buddies loaded and fucking, he was living the life because he had no dad. He was fucking 18, 19 years old, living in a pad by himself with his mom. He had an old lady that used to come over, but they used to get the dope speed and fucking pack capsules and pop the capsule and fucking get loaded, eat the dope, right? And so like I grabbed one of them capsules one day and I took it to my buddy Jay, and Jay kind of cracks it and he looks at it and he tastes it and he goes, "Oh, my dad's got the same stuff. He does the same thing," you know what I mean? And Jay popped the capsule, bro, and that fool was zooming, bro, in the 6th grade, bro, all over in elementary school, fucking tripping, bro. You know what I mean? I was like, what the fuck? So like I was introduced to like, I knew marijuana, you know what I mean? And then I seen my brother with these fucking pills, and I seen him one day, his buddies, some white boys, a mutual friend of ours, you know what I mean? So my brother would jack all my friends. And all my friends wanted to hang out with older persons, you know what I mean? So like fucking, it was like I had no friends, you know what I mean? Almost, And like they're snorting fucking rails. I'm like, what the fuck? So like one day, I discovered, right? I was already 12, 13, you know what I mean? And when I was on the west, when I would go to the west side, you know what I mean? I would, I would tell them, "Hey, my brother fucks me up, bro." And they're like, "Fool, what are you talking about? That fool hits you?" And I was like, "Yeah, he fucks me up," because they see me with marks and shit, right? I'd be fighting with my brother. "How old is he?" And he's a big old fool, you know what I mean? I told them, they're like, "Hey, fool, we got something for that ass," you know what I mean? So like after I started doing things over there, I made some money. I picked up this little fucking 25 Derringer, Holmes, you know what I mean? And they said, "Next time that motherfucker wants to hit you, fool, pull this motherfucker out, Holmes," you know what I mean? All right. And so like I started packing a piece. And I come down the driveway one day late. 11:30 at night, he's fucking waiting at the porch of my mom's house, you know what I mean? "Come here, motherfucker." And I threw the bike down and he grabbed my bike and he picked it up and he just fucking stepped on it, bent the rims and shit. "You motherfucker." And he started talking shit to me, and my mom goes, "Hey, he's got something. Don't hit him, and he's got something." And that fool went to fucking beat the shit out of me, bro, and I fucking got away from him. I pulled that piece out, Holmes, and I shot at him. Bam. And he fucking just froze. My mom goes, I told you, cabron, he has something, whoop, right? And like, that was the fucking end of the abuse from him, right? And so like, my mom, after that took place, you know what I mean, it just fucking, it triggered something inside me, man, that, you know what I mean, like, I'm not gonna let nobody touch me or hit me ever again, you know what I mean? And like, and it just, it changed my life, the course of my life, you know what I mean? In my freshman year in high school, I started out at San Gregorio High School, and I have a cousin that was fucking. He's like, let me see, like 5 years older than me. And he was still fucking, he was supposed to have already graduated. But he showed such a fuck up that he was fucking still a fucking freshman in high school, right? And they wouldn't move you forward back then. You know what I mean? You stayed in the same grade with no credits. You fucking stay the same. You're fucking already 19 years old, fucking, and still freshman in fucking high school. You know what I mean? So like, I'd already had, you know, my doing things back over there. You know what I mean? And that fool fucking, he gave me a shoebox with a bunch of ounces of marijuana fucking bags. You know what I mean? Rolled up, and I was selling. And at the school over there, you know what I mean? He would fucking tell me, hey, bring something to school, you know what I mean? So he kind of used me as a pawn, you know what I mean? And fucking shove it in the book, Holmes, and take this book over there, you know what I mean? And switch books with so-and-so, and that's how we were getting the drugs across from fucking... Well, they had this big old scandal of a law enforcement officer, a female. She posed to be a fucking student, and she caught all of them fucking at the school, you know what I mean? And they all got busted for fucking transporting and selling on school property.
Yeah.
But, make a long story short, you know, that all took place, and I was already fucking off and running, bro. You know what I mean? And my friends were teens, right? Hanging out with my brother. And grad night, from my freshman year, I only did one semester there, and they sent me to fucking Sierra High School.
Yeah.
Continuation, and grad night, fucking, we went to the fucking, what's it called? Disneyland. Tina Turner and fucking someone else was there. Anyways, where the stage used to come up off out of the ground, and fucking it was popping at fucking. And we went to grad night there, and we came back, and there was a Chris Manzano. He graduated in they had a graduation party next door to my uncle's house, and it was a bunch of our friends from school. But they had this little fucking derby. I'm not gonna mention no names, but he was from the flats, bro, and he fucking had this fucking derby on, and he had a bunch of fucking leños rolled up, Holmes. And my first experience with any drugs was that. You know what I mean? I thought it was marijuana, but it was fucking mint leaves laced in angel dust, PCP. And I fucking took a hit of that motherfucker, Holmes, and took another hit of that motherfucker, and I was like, wow. My heart started pounding, bro. Broke out in cold sweats. And that same cousin took me and dropped me off at my mom's house on the porch, bro. My mom opens the door, and she's like, what the fuck happened to you? You know what I mean? What did you smoke? What did you do? And I told her, and I was like 15 years old, maybe 14, 15. Yeah, 14 or 15, 14, probably. She threw me in an ice cold bath, gave me milk, and brought me down. And she told me, don't you ever, hang out with them people again. I don't know who gave it to you. And I told her, well, so-and-so, my cousin, so-and-so brought me. And, and she's like, so there was a big controversy. My mom called her brother and said, hey, you better get your son. And don't tell him, don't ever fucking take Gasper over there anymore and this and that, right? So then, I'd already had my sexual experiences, you know what I mean? I was kind of like advanced kid.
Yeah.
You could say, like early on, when my parents divorced, my dad had this little fucking cuartito. We call it a cuartito, but it's a fucking shed. Right? Yeah. And in there he had stacks of Playboy magazines, and I used to always go in there and look at them, you know what I mean? And my brother caught me with the little neighbor next door, the girl with her pants down, you know what I mean? And so started experiencing all these things. I knew I had something different than, the girls, you know what I mean? And let me touch you, you touch me type shit, and then I got caught and got in trouble. My brother said, hey, you can't be doing that, you know what I mean? But I'd already had fucking that experience, you know what I mean? With fucking shit happening to me, you know what I mean? So, that all that ended, right? Because once I got that gun in my hand, I said, motherfucker, ain't nobody gonna fucking touch me or do shit to me, you know what I mean? And so like fast forward, I'm in junior high school, and I meet this chick, and like she was cool, and I had her in a class, man, and she would help me with my work, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't stay focused. My mind was always all over, you know what I mean? And so, like, everybody used to make fun of her, you know what I mean? And I kind of took her under my wing, and I was like, man, don't be fucking talking shit to her, you know what I mean? Fuck you, you know what I mean? And I'd fight people in the halls for her, you know what I mean? The lockers were in the halls, you know what I mean? And I got this 2-liter bottle, and I cut the cap off that motherfucker, and I'd buy it at the Shirley's Market where I lived over there, and they had the little fucking BBs like this in a pouch like this, a pack of BBs for BB gun, and I'd buy them for like two the cartridges for like $3 or something like that, right? And I'd put a balloon at the end of that motherfucker, Holmes, and I'd go through the halls and
Bean
motherfuckers,
shooter.
bean shooter.
Yeah.
Talk shit to her, motherfucker. Motherfuckers getting hit in the back, you know what I mean? Like, so she did my homework and stuff, and then we'd walk to the field on the way home, you know what I mean? And like, I you know what I mean? Any chance we got, we'd handle business, Holmes, you know what I mean? And one day her mom leaves with her sisters, and they go to this place, and the sisters were in softball, and we got caught. They forgot jackets, and we got caught boning in her mom's house, bro. And it was over. It was fucking on and cracking. So mom came to my house, big old shit, you know what I mean? My mom told her, hey, my rooster's loose. Tell your hen to stay away, you know what I mean? It was big old shit, yeah. Funny, my mom fucking, the lady fucking, I sent flowers to her, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, I love you. When she came and threw the flowers at my mom, you know what I mean? Fucking, it was a big old thing, you know what I mean? So like,
That's funny, bro. 'Cause my mom would talk about how her mom, my grandmother, but she was saying in Spanish.
Yeah.
Like, my roosters are gonna run. You
Está
gotta
suelto mi gallo. You know, vale más que, you know, you hold your fucking, your hand back, you know what I mean?
Funny, bro. Same culture. Yeah.
The Spanish shit, I mean, I would go there, you know what I mean? But my mom would tell me, hijo de tu chingada madre, you know what I mean? Mi gallo está suelto. And she said, my rooster's loose. You better watch out, you know what I mean? So, so, you know, that happened, and the mom kind of like was like, fuck that, you can't see her no more type thing, you know what I mean? So we had this neighbor in next door to my mom, and the dude was an older dude, and the chick was an older chick, and she had 2 kids from the dude. That dude was a tweaker, and he drank, but he used to go and take off and leave his old lady and kids at home, and I lived next door. Well, she used to ask me for things sometimes. I was like 14, and she'd be like, hey, can you help me with the kids? You know what I mean? And put them in the car. And you know what I mean? My mom goes, hey, stay away from over there. You're going to get in trouble. You know what I mean? Because my mom already knew what she was after, home. She wanted that young fucking, you know what I mean, shit or whatever. And my mom was like, hey, stay away from him. That guy's going to kick your ass. You know what I mean? So what ended up happening is that dude came one day, and she's like, F you, whoop, whoop, and he threw a car battery. She was holding the kid, and the battery acid went all over that girl, the kids and her, you know what I mean? And I grabbed the water hose and washed her off, you know what I mean? And that was my introduction to helping someone out, you know what I mean? And so he stayed away for a while, and then she was like, hey, you know what I mean? One thing leads to another, and the moral of the story is, you know, shit happened. And my kid's mom, she wasn't my kid's mom at the time. She was just my girlfriend. Well, she was my ex-girlfriend because we got caught. She started going over there, and her brother, that chick that lived there, her brother-in-law was like 21 years old, and he had a mini truck and all this, right? So like he would take her to school, and the mom it was okay with him because he had money. She didn't want me because I didn't have shit, right? You know what I mean? She didn't want me to be with her daughter because I didn't have shit. I was just the same age, you know what I mean? But that it was okay for her 15-year-old daughter to be with a fucking 21-year-old guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
So all that takes place, and I already had my first experience with that PCP, right? And me and some other family members, you know, them people got, they moved out next door. She ends up with that dude, you know, my kid's mom ends up with that dude. And once the mom seen that, you know, I mean, shit wasn't working out for them too, you know what I mean? She allowed me to see her again. And when I came into her, when I'm start being, you know, hitting it or whatever, and she ends up pregnant. And I'm thinking that it's my kid, bro. You know what I mean? So, like, she leads me to believe, but I didn't know that she had both of us at the same time, around the same time or whatever, you know what I mean? And this kid comes along, and I name him. You know, he has my last name and everything. And I even paid child support for this kid for the whole 18 years of his life. And come to find out, he's not even my kid, right? But kid has my last name. He's been a part of my life and all that. And it wasn't until he was like 15, the kid turned 15, that he found out that who his real dad was, right? And so yeah, needless to say, all that takes place. And you know, growing up where I was growing up and going back and forth, I had my white boy friends, and one of my white boy friends, his dad was a, you know, you could say a biker, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And you know, during that era of time, you know, they had there's a lot of them type of guys, you know, doing things, and I won't disclose, but their bottom rocker on their patch says Coast to Coast. It's not a SoCal. It's not Fontana. It's not, you know, I mean, it says Coast to Coast, and their colors are black and red. So yeah, my buddy's dad goes to fucking federal prison and leaves us with this house, right? And we're kids, bro, and we're going through all his dad's stuff, right? And I'm like, wow. And then we get out in the garage, and I'm like, wow. Then his dad's buddies come over, and they're like, hey, we got to move some stuff from here, you know what I mean? I'm like, wow. And I'm looking, I'm like, fuck. All right, cool. And that was my introduction to being a chemist, right? And so, yeah. Me and that girl ended up having that baby. We were living in a place, paying rent. She was on welfare, and we were teens, bro. Teens who had a kid, you know what I mean? And she was out of her mom's home, and she was getting a check, you know what I mean? And she would fund me with her check, you know what I mean? And I had friends, you know what I mean? That I was already into all that, you know what I mean? And like, she had already been introduced to meth, you know what I mean? In high school, she would snort lines on the desk with her friends, right? Or go to the restroom and snort. And then all of a sudden, slowly but surely, it's like my era of friends were hanging out with my brother, who's way older, and you know, who was dealing, right? And I knew that you can snort meth, eat it, right, and slam it, but I didn't know that you can smoke it. Until my brother gets caught up, right, with this dude. It was a connection from another state who was out here as a truck driver, and that dude would send money Western Union, right, and we'd get the money and score for him, and then he would truck drive the stuff back to where he was at, right, and my brother fucking picked up some shit from him and owed money, and my brother goes, hey, bro, all I got is a quarter ounce, but I need to make money for like an ounce. Wow. All right, so like I start selling. That was my introduction, you know what I mean, to selling. My brother was like, here, fool. So I made the money for the ounce, bro, and he was like, damn, bro, how'd you do that? And I said, no, you know, just do it like this and do it like that. And all my buddies, and then one of my buddies came over and he was like, hey, you got any shit? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, you got a spoon? Yeah, what do you want a spoon for? So one wanted a spoon, the other one wanted some foil. I'm like, all right, and then they both split, right? And he goes, you got a pen? And he kind of broke the tip off the pen, you know what I mean? And then I seen him in the corner over there freebasing the meth, and I'm like, what the fuck? You can do that? How's it taste? And I went from moving from like a quarter pound every 3 days for this dude to like a quarter pound a month because I got addicted, bro, you know what I mean? Fast. I started smoking this stuff on foil, and my brother was like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Fighting with me, and he's living in a place where I'm paying rent, you know what I mean? And I'm like giving him a place to stay, and yeah.
That was the beginning.
That was the beginning.
Tell us about some of the places or situations that it took you, like in the middle.
Okay, so here we are. I'm already using, right? I meet this friend, this buddy of mine who used to steal cameras. They called him, I don't want to give him no names, but you know what I mean? He used to steal cameras, and he fucking bring me cameras, and fucking I had my house all cameraed up, bro. You know what I mean? I could see fucking all around me. And he's like, hey, this is a pretty good spot, bro. I have a friend that needs a place to batch. And I'm like, cool. You know, I already had my fucking theory of fucking cooking, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, let's do this. So he brings this fucking long-haired white boy over, and he's like, fucking, hey, bro, it's a pretty good spot, bro. You know what I mean? Can I check out your garage? I was like, yeah. He comes in the garage, and he goes, perfect. You know what I mean? And you got cameras? I said, yeah. He goes, you got sound to them? I said, yeah, check it out. Turned the monitor up, and it was on. He was like, oh, I'll be back, bro. You know what I mean? And he took off, and I didn't see him for like a week. Right? And all of a sudden, he fucking comes. My buddy calls me, and he's like, hey, he's coming to your house. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, let's go. You know what I mean? So, like, I pull up, close this gate, bro, and fucking he brings his duffel bag down, and it was on. And, like, I'm keeping point or whatever, and I start watching him, and I start asking questions, and at the end of the gig, bro, he breaks me off, and he gives me, like, you know what I mean, $500 and, like, a couple zips of fucking some bomb, pure uncut shit, you know what I mean? And I was like, fuck, yeah, this is money right here, you know what I mean? Let's get it. So the next time he wants to do it, like a month later, I tell him, hey, bro, this is what it is, bro. Like, I don't want no money and I don't want no dough, bro. You're going to show me how to do this. And he's like, what? Yeah. and I learned. I was off and running, and like I did trips, and my kid's mom at the time, she was my fucking right hand. You know what I mean? She did trips with me. You know what I mean? And like I get busted. So like I'd already, you know what I mean, had my introduction to all this stuff. You know what I mean? And before all that, like I went looking for my pops, and like I found my pops, and I walk up to the door, and I knock on the door, and knock on the door, and he opens the door, and he goes, "Hey, who are you?" And I go, "I'm Gasper. I'm your son." And he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, he went to put his hand out, and he grabs his wallet, bro, and he's like, "How much do you need?" And I'm like, "I don't want no money, bro. I just want a relationship." You know what I mean? I said, "I just had this baby," and like, "Oh yeah." I said, "Yeah," and he's like, "All right," you know, and this and that. And he goes, "Well, this is where you're at," because he moved in the same place, right? But why he stayed in that same place is because early on, going back real quick, you know what I mean, when he was living in Ontario, and the 2 or 3 times that he picked me up, you know, I took my bike with me, right? And I used to ride my bike around the place where he lived, and I witnessed my first experience of I don't even know how to put it, but I just heard some screams of a person getting, you know what I mean, that's one of the, you know, like this person was fucking getting fucking got homes in an apartment complex, bro. And I had these fools come out and chase me on my bike, bro, because I witnessed something. And like they chased me all the way up to my dad's pad, and I was upstairs looking down, and the dudes were like down there talking. My dad's like, "Man, don't fucking worry about nothing, bro. We ain't going nowhere." You know what I mean? And he looked up and he goes, "Did you see anything?" I said, "Nope." All right, you know what I mean? But when he moved from that place, he stayed in the same area right around the block, and then he bought a house on the other block, like to let these people know, like, "Hey, fool, if something ever comes about that, you can come get at me," you know what I mean? And like nothing ever came about it because I never said nothing, you know what I mean? And I didn't see nothing,
Yeah.
quote unquote, right?
Yep.
So like, now fast forward to where we're at, you know what I mean? I'd already had witnessed all that kind of stuff, and like, in my disease of addiction, you know what I mean? It took me to places where like a lot of stuff was happening, you know what I mean? Like I made the shit, you know what I mean? And I moved it, you know what I mean? And pretty much got involved with the streets, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And I had some friends or some homies, you know what I mean, that kind of like told on me, and, you know, say, "Hey, this fool got some fucking good shit," you know what I mean? And I got a visit, and the visit was, you know what I mean, well, pretty much, you know, either you're gonna do this or fucking, you know what I mean, or that, you know what I mean? And it's like, all right, you know what I mean? And then I just like slowly but surely, you know what I mean, like, you know how it happens, you know what I mean? I don't have to say too much, you know what I mean? Like it just kind of like you wean yourself away from that fucking lifestyle, you know what I mean? And like you know what I mean, I'd already been introduced, you know, my dad when at the time, you know what I mean, my kid was born, and I was looking for a dad to help me, you know what I mean, and some guidance, you know what I mean, and like he wasn't trying to do all that. What he did give me was fucking 57 grams of heroin, pure uncut tar heroin that I got busted with. And me and another member that's in the rooms, you know what I mean, who's a family member, he talks about the blender. I don't know if you guys know I'm talking about the blender. Okay, so
Yeah.
The blender. So the blender,
Add some lactose.
Lactose. You know what I mean?
Stretch it.
So yeah, stretch it. So that's what we did. That 57 grams of pure uncut tar heroin, we chopped it one time. You know what I mean? And I made double the amount, and I got busted with a good chunk of it. You know what I mean? Like some guys called me in the morning. They're like, "Hey, I got a TV and I got some tools and all kinds of stuff. We just hit this pad." And I'm like, "All right." So like I grabbed my little Tupperware bin, right, and I throw it in the car. You know, I pulled it out of the freezer and throw it in the car, and you could see it's all moisture. You know what I mean? Thank God for the moisture, because fucking my fingerprints would have been on it. You know what I mean? So like I'm coming down the road, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, right here." So they throw all their fucking burglary tools in my car, and we fucking get down the road, and this fucking trash truck is picking up this dumpster, getting ready to dump it, and they stop the trash truck in the middle of the street, bro. Like, "Hey, put the dumpster back down." They fucking flip the lid over and on the dumpster, bro, and then get the TV, the fucking all the shit that they robbed, they put it in a dumpster.
Yeah.
So they loaded it in my car, and as we're leaving the block, bro, we can tell that we look all like fucking Tecatos drug dealers and fucking whatever, right?
Yeah.
And the fucking dude's house that they hit, he left his fucking work keys at home. He came back to his pad and discovered that his house was robbed, and fucking figured it was us fucking leaving the fucking street, bro. And he calls the cops. As we're rolling down fucking baseline, bro, the fucking sheriff's coming. And he fucking passes him, flips a bitch, bro. And I hit this fucking street called Paris Hill Road. Yeah. I punch it up the street, bro. And these fools fucking jump out my car, bro. Lift all their shit in my car, bro. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they bounce, bro. And the cop fucking tears after me. And there's a car parked in the driveway with, I see the motor running because there's steam coming out. It's like 6:30 in the morning. The lady's going to work and her front door's cracked. And I pull up in the driveway, bro, throw that motherfucker in park, bro. And I grab the container and I throw it. And I ran up in her house, bro. And I went up in the house and I closed the door. And she goes, get out of my house. I go, just calm down. The cops. And she said, get the fuck out of my house. Woo. So, bro, I go back outside and the fucking Huda's got drawn down on me, bro. Come here. And he starts searching my car. Burglary tools, they got me for possession of controlled substance for sale, burglary tools, and all kinds of shit. I just fucking turned 18, bro. Right? Fuck. Wow. So, like, I'm like, all right. So they gave me 180 days, 5-year joint suspension, 3 years felony probation. So I did 180 days. I get out on fucking 3 years felony probation and a 5-year joint suspension. Needless to say, fucking 30 or 45 days later, I did that fucking 5-year joint suspension, bro. That 5 years turned into almost 7.
7.
Yeah. So I did shoe term. I did 16 months in the shoe. And Corcoran 4 before left. You know what I mean? After that, after I did all that stint, I paroled from CRC State Prison. My dad picked me up at the gate. Same dude that gave me the dope. You know what I mean? Like fucking, he was like, well, John, well done, mijo. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't snitch, you didn't fucking open your mouth, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna get broke off. You know what I mean? And like, nah, that fool fucking takes me to this fucking place. It's a fucking 10, 15-story building. I guess he had some insurance policy or some shit on me, right? And he hands me a couple $1,000s, you know what I mean? And he's like, hey, don't go back to the same places you were hanging out or whatever. Here's some money to get on your feet, you know what I mean? $2,000 in an envelope, you know what I mean? And he goes, that's all I can help you with, you know what I mean, right now. The fuck? So his advice to me was like, don't go to your old friends and hang out with your own friends. And this is all I can do for you. Wow. So I'm like, all right. But I did the fucking total opposite. You know what I mean? Like, I went right back to where I was at, fucking doing what I was doing. And you know what I mean? And this time it was like I had money, you know? And so like, I'd already learned how to do trips or whatever, you know what I mean? And back then it was Efidac. 240 milligrams of Efidac fucking pills, you know what I mean, on the shelf at Walmart, you know what I mean? And like I had people fucking going all the way from fucking San Bernardino to San Diego, you know what I mean, with backpacks, you know what I mean? And they would fucking steal every fucking Efidac off the fucking shelf, bro, you know what I mean? And I'd give them some bomb ass shit. And that was my life, bro. Manufacturing meth and moving heroin. And being a connection, you know what I mean? There's always people that want to get you. Yep. You know, they want to rob you, they want to tax you, they want to do all them things, you know what I mean? And like it's only by the grace of a loving higher power, you know what I mean, that I made it this far today. You know what I mean? I give God all the glory. You know what I mean? He's my redeemer. You know what I mean? And after I did that, you know what I mean, and I went to prison and I did all that. You know what I mean? I think it was in 1994 or 5 when I was in treatment with the 2 other fellow addicts that are in the rooms. You know what I mean? They got the program and I didn't, you know what I mean? I went to that place over there on D Street. I got IRD'd, kicked out of there for the person who was coming to visit me was my kid's mom, and she told me that this dude was pissing outside and, you know, she seen his penis or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck? I grabbed that dude and I told him, hey, bro, you pissing outside in front of everybody, bro. What's wrong with you? Now, I beat him up, Holmes, you know what I mean? And it got me kicked out of the program. She's like, well, you can't come here. They're going to come looking for you. You know what I mean? Whoop-de, whoop-de, whoop. You know what I mean? So, like, I was pretty much homeless on the street with my bag. You know what I mean? And I knew, I would heard that, you know, if you go check into another place and they find somebody to accept you, you know what I mean? Like, you won't go to jail. You know what I mean? And I'm like, fuck this. You know what I mean? So I ran. You know what I mean? And they caught me and they tried to give me a break and send me to that Salvation Army program. But, you know, already being institutionalized, you know what I mean? And pretty much, you know what I mean, with that thought in your head, right? Of can't be around certain ethnicities and all that. And over there at that place, they put you on a bunk with whoever, right? And I wasn't down for that, you know what I mean? So, like, I had left the place, you know what I mean? I went there for a day or two, and when they told me, you're sleeping right here, and I go, I can't do that. And he said, why not? I said, well, because I'm not supposed to. And he's like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, he goes, no, we don't do that here. And I go, well, it is what it is. I can't be here. You know what I mean? And so I fucking left, you know what I mean? And So yeah, like getting back to the connection.
Got off when somebody ran away.
Right away. I got off. I grabbed my shit and left. You know what I mean? So pretty much, it put me in a place. You know what I mean? And I didn't understand, and it wasn't until you know what I mean. So like I've been to places where I go to sell some stuff, and like there's shit going on there that fucking like I don't even know, bro. And like and you're a part of it now because you're fucking stuck there. They're not letting you leave. You know what I mean? And this is what it is. You know what I mean? And like, what the fuck? So like I went to a motel room one day and sold some stuff, right? This dude never fucking buys a lot, right? He only buys like a 16th or an 8 ball, and he had money to buy an ounce that day. And he's like, hey, you got anything? Yeah, all right. So I go up to the motel room and knock on the door, and like I look around and the bathroom light's on, and I don't even know if there's someone in the bathroom or not. Right. But the dude fucking, I blaze a bowl real quick. I way up a zip. He pays me cashes me out, but I was there less than 5 minutes, bro. And like, this is how bad the disease had me. You know what I mean? Like, he did his thing, Holmes. You know what I mean? And I split from there. And come to find out, bro, like they'd already been there for a minute. You know what I mean? And the person that they were robbing or whatever, doing to Holmes. You know what I mean? Like fucking was in the bathroom, Holmes, with someone else, Holmes, and I didn't even know. So like I leave there, you know what I mean? And fucking like the next day or 2 days later, my mom fucking tells me homicide came looking for you. What? Homicide for what? And she's like, hey, yeah, these fucking want to talk to you. And I'm like, what the fuck? So like he asked me, I go and I go tell him, hey, what's going on? And he's like, hey, were you at this place? And I said, yeah. He goes, what were you doing there? I said, I sold some drugs. And he's like, I said, you can check the cameras or whatever, bro. I wasn't there that long. And he's like, all right, did you see anybody else? And I said, no, I dealt with this guy right here. He goes, this guy? And he showed me, I go, yeah, that's him. You know what I mean? That's who I sold to. And he's like, okay, well, you know, this and this took place there. And I go, I don't know anything about that. You know what I mean? Like fucking, I didn't see nobody else. You know what I mean? Like that's what I dealt with. I sold it over to him. And he's like, all right. And like, and that was that, you know what I mean? I was like, fuck, you know what I mean? And that's not the first time, you know, you go places and you find yourself in fucking places that you're fucking like, damn, you're just there to fucking smoke dope or get high or sell some dope, you know what I mean? And like, this is what's going on, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even know that it's going on. Yeah. So like, God has had his hand on me through it all, you know what I mean? And then throughout the prison system, like the disease, going to prison and all that, your disease doesn't stop, it starts to work overtime. So like, if I can manipulate the system, right, which I did, Angel Tree is fucking a thing through the California Department of Corrections that you fucking sign up for. And my kids had presents every year, not only through Angel Tree, but fucking like I was like Mr. Super Dad, you know what I mean? Because I sold dope in fucking prison, bro, and people's fucking mail out money and all that shit homes, you know what I mean? I'd fucking send the money home, or I'd have homeboys fucking old lady fucking, hey, go buy these toys and take them personally to my fucking kids, bro, you know what I mean? And people that fucking, when you fuck with people in prison, if you don't do that, guess what happens, right? So like, you know, the disease was alive and well, and like, you know, I came to some places, and finally, like, early on in my disease, like my kids would fucking, I'd put 2 kids, bro, my 2 oldest kids, to fucking watch Barney in a room, bro, with fucking PB&J sandwiches. Just watch Barney while the chick was fucking eyeing the fucking peephole, right? Watching people walk by before we got cameras, right? While I'm batching fucking dope in the kitchen, dog. You know, I'm gonna have my kids in the house. So like that's where the disease of addiction took me. You know what I mean? Where I fucking it was a fucking selfish and self-centered. You know what I mean? And all I worried about was how I was gonna get the next one, and how I didn't give a fuck who I was hurting along the way. And it was this last time that something inside me fucking changed, bro. You know what I mean? I had been absent from all of my kids' fucking lives, right? And we had been, I paroled. I was staying at my mom's, and my cousin calls me. He's like, hey, fool, you just got out. Let's go hang out or whatever. I got some donuts. And he worked for Krispy Kreme's, right? And he called these broads donuts, right? So that's what their gig was, their name was. He was calling them donuts at the time. He goes, hey, you know, he goes, I got this chick that'll fucking just, you know, hook you up. And I'm like, really? All right, let's go check it out. He comes by and he picks me up. And we end up at this fucking Party Doll on Baseline, right?
Party Doll.
Party Doll. Yeah. Everybody knows a Party Doll, right? Yeah, so fucking, we're drinking or whatever, you know what I mean? And like, one thing leads to another, and this chick, you know what I mean? she's with a little Levi skirt, and she kind of opens her fucking legs, bro. And I look, and I go, I'm good, bro. I said, I'm good. I don't want none of that. And he's like, what? Nah, I'm good. So, they made that chick. Just so happens, fucking, she uses, right? And my cousin asked me, he's like, hey, you got anything? And I'm like, bro, I just got out, bro. I don't got nothing. He's like, I said, I don't think I'm gonna do any of that, right? And he's like, all right. So then this other chick, that chick calls her cousin, which turns out to be ends up being my son's mom. And like, so she's married at the time. She's like, my dude's fucking busted, and he fucking left me out here high and dry, fucking wah, this and that. I have no electricity on my pad, and da. And so they go super Gasper, right? So we end up at the casino, and I have my gate money, and she don't have no more shit. And she's like, hey, can you score? And I'm like, yeah, man, don't trip. What you got? What you want? You know what I mean? And she's like, man, I just need to get some stuff. All right. So I pick up a good chunk, and she's like, it just blew her mind. She was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I said, yeah, I got it like that if I choose, right? Mm-hmm. And it was off and running, bro. Again. Like I hit that pipe, bro. Didn't even check in with my PO, nothing, bro. It was on. It was boop. And like but in the midst of all that, right? My drug of choice have changed from the last 2 times I've been in prison, right? Yeah. I think it was 2000, 1999 or 2000. I really quit fucking with, you know, I would do the speed to fucking blend in like a million to fucking be around everybody, but in secret homes, you know what I mean? I'd fucking slam heroin, you know what I mean? And heroin took me to a different place, you know? And like, one thing leads to another, and, you know, she ends up filing for divorce, right? And like, this and that and what have you, and she's 4 months pregnant, and we're staying in a place, and she's like, you know what I mean, I only had a little bit of shit left, you know what I mean, for us to get high or whatever. I'm waiting on my buddy, you know what I mean, and I had these plates, with authenticity fucking certificates, yeah. And I was taking them to this place on 40th in Waterman.
All collectibles.
Yes, all collectibles.
All collectibles.
Yeah, collectibles. You remember? So I called the dude and I sent him pictures, right? And he's like, "Fuck yeah, I'll give you $500 a piece for them motherfuckers. Bring them right now." I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" So we're on our way, right? We get the money. I make the call, and in the parking lot right there, bro, I just fucking blaze one. My heart was pounding, bro. Like she talked about that tingle. I was like, yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? And like I take off down 40 to Valencia, down Valencia at a high rate of speed, bro. It's like 40 miles an hour. I'm doing like 70. And fucking there's this big old black cop on a fucking motorcycle with a fucking speed gun. And he's like, fucking tags me, bro. And he sees the front end of my car. I see the cop, and the front end of my car dips, bro, because I slam on the brakes, bro. And he fucking throws the lights on me. Motorcycle cop pulls me over. She's with me, 4 months pregnant, in high-speed chase, bro. It was on, right? She hands me she goes, just smoke this motherfucker. I'm like, you crazy? You motherfucker kill a cop? You know what I mean? Like, oh, fuck, I'm gone, dog. You know what I mean? Like, fuck yeah, that's what she said. Smoke this motherfucker. I said, you're fucking nuts, dog. Like, she really wanted me to fucking. So, like, I said, nah. You know what I mean? I took him on a high-speed chase, and fucking, she gets away. She takes the car, and I fucking get busted home. They chased me down and beat me down. They beat me so fucking bad, bro. I was in the fucking county hospital for like fucking a week, and nobody knew where I was at. And that was the last of my run. So that was in 2005. They tried to 3-strike me, you know what I mean? I'm looking at I'm like, man, the motherfucker's gonna give me life, bro. Whoa. I'm a career criminal, wah. And I'm like thinking to myself, damn. And she took the gun beef from me, right? So they only got me for felony evade. So they couldn't get me possession of the weapon because they found the weapon fucking down the road, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? All I had was fucking ammunition, and so they pretty much got me for violation with the new beef of felony evade. They gave me two with half, and they sent me to this place, bro, where I never fucking been to one of these places before in my life, bro. And I'm like, wow, this is a walk in the park, bro. And there again, once again, my disease. You need to make money. She's out there alone. She's got fucking kid on the way, you know what I mean, pregnant, all this stuff. And she gets work release, right? She gets work release, and she's still able to come visit me. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're my crimey, and you fucking got approved? Well, you know, that doesn't happen, bro. You know what I mean? Your crimey don't go get to fucking visit you, bro. You know what I mean? Whether your spouse or not, Holmes, you don't get to go. I guess she got special treatment or something. I don't know what the fuck, but
Can't even get mail.
yeah, I can't. Yeah.
crimey.
Yeah, well, she was fucking riding me every day, Holmes, and she was bringing me fucking 5 to 7 grams of heroin every weekend. You know, so like, it was on, bro. You know what I mean? And like, made some money. You know what I mean? And fucking, and when I paroled, you know, I got out this time, and you know what I mean, and I knew that I couldn't fucking use, you know what I mean, and and my parole officer was like, you know what I mean, just don't use and get a job, you know what I mean. So my dad hooked me up at a place, and I was washing the trucks, and we had this little boy, you know what I mean, and he came into my life, bro. She started bringing him to visit me since he was like fucking 3 days old, something like that, and I established this bond with this kid, you know what I mean, and not that I didn't have a bond with any of my other kids, you know what I mean, but like drugs affected our relationships, you know what I mean, and father and childhood fucking shit, you know what I mean, like I couldn't be a father to them because drugs were fucking more important to me, you know what I mean, and that I'd put everybody else is fucking, even though the kids, my main thing was the kids, as long as they had food and roof over their head, you know what I mean, even though I wasn't a part of their lives, you know what I mean, like that, but you know what I mean, I made sure that they had what they needed, you know what I mean, and that's one of the things of selling, you know what I mean, and being, you know what I mean, you make sure that, you know what I mean, there's even kids that fucking, they weren't even mine, homes, you know what I mean, I made sure they had clothes and fucking looked good to go to school, you know what I mean, and yeah, so that took place, and then I parole, we get a house, and all that, and then shit just fucking goes south, you know what I mean. I guess her ex gets out, wants to be a part of whatever, and there'd been several instances where fucking the car that she was driving is fucking beat the fuck up, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? And she's not wanting to explain to me, you know what I mean, and she kind of keep everything into like a secret, you know what I mean, type thing. And it was kind of weird because like it was almost like she was obligated to somebody else the whole time, you know what I mean, like fucking she started disappearing, carrying just her fucking certain things, bro, started fucking triggering me, Holmes, you know what I mean? And like, man, something ain't right here. Then I found out that she was fucking being with her ex, you know what I mean? And that's what happened. And so like their thing was probably he's gonna go back to prison, you know what I mean? And my son was only 2, you know what I mean? I'm like, I can't do that to him, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna fucking, you know what I mean? And I started going places, hanging out places, going places where they were doing shit or whatever, passing the pipe around, and I said, I don't want to get loaded, you know what I mean? But I started drinking. And I knew that if I did dope, I'd already discharged parole in 2009. And I knew that if I started using, you know what I mean, that it was gonna take me back to a place where I'm gonna be absent from his life, you know what I mean? So drinking and hanging out places, you know, especially when you hang out in places, people right away think, you know what I mean, hey, you're using, right?
Yeah.
Because we just recently had that instance, you know, we seen somebody's vehicle somewhere, right? And I'm like, man, maybe that fool's, you know what I mean, doing something he ain't supposed to be doing, you know what I mean? And right away, that's their inclination, right? The stinking thinking. And so, yeah. I'd go home and I was living at my mom's, you know what I mean, after that incident, you know what I mean, happened and the separation took place. I ended up at my mom's pad for a while. And then going to them places, my mom was like, hey, I know que estás usando. I know you're using. I said, no, I'm not using. I'm drinking. And she's like, no, you're just using that to fucking hide your shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, you're tripping. You know what I mean? And she was, I bet, give me a test. You know what I mean? I'm like, fucking get the test. You know what I mean? I'll fucking test for you. And I got tired of her fucking jamming me up, bro. And I said, you know what, fuck this. So I asked my brother. And my brother was homesteading a pad in Highland over there where another member that we know fucking lives off this street called, I don't know, Central or not Central, Orange. Somewhere in that area, Orange and Highland Avenue. And I know the neighborhood real well because when I was with my kid's mom in the beginning, we lived up there. You know what I mean? And so my brother started homesteading this pad up there. And I told him, hey, you're not paying no rent, bro. I'll give you a couple $100 a month. You know what I mean? Let me stay here, you know what I mean? So I slept in a room with him and his grandson. Now, I say his grandson stayed on the bunk bed up on top, and I stayed on the bottom, and my brother had a separate room, separate bed across the way. You remember, huh? So, like, I was staying there at my brother's, and prior to that, I was seeing some chick, another member in the room's his cousin. She was on Section 8, and she was using big time, you know what I mean? And that's how I met my wife, was that chick had a friend who worked in treatment, who had an old man who was fucking getting clean doing meetings. And that dude relapsed, and he showed up to the door one day while I was staying with that chick. And fucking, he's like, hey, bro, kind of came there. He goes, man, you shouldn't fuck with her, home. She's fucking, I go, bro, you're just doing the same thing everybody else is, probably fucking hitting the shit. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, and he, it's just my old lady's best friend. Whatever, bro. She goes, look, I got somebody that sings in the church choir. You know what I mean? Fucking, she's a good woman. Home. She takes me to meetings at times. You know what I mean? And she's never fucking crossed the line, and I've never crossed the line with her like that. You know what I mean? She's not that type of person. She's a God-fearing woman. I said, all right. And so, like, gave me the number, and he gave me the Facebook, and I started looking at her Facebook, and I'm like, man, I like that, you know what I mean? And then that was the introduction to my beautiful wife, you know what I mean?
And the program.
And the program, yeah. So, like, I had my instances with the program, you know what I mean, through treatment, you know what I mean? But, like, not going to meetings, you know what I mean? I did go to a few meetings because I was like 2 weeks from completion. They say graduating, but completion, the place on D Street. But before I beat the dude up, so like they would send us to meetings, and they would kind of like disgrace us, bro. Like we had to do childish acts on the ground. If someone acted like a child, we had to color lay on the floor and color. Yeah, it was crazy, bro. Like, you know what I mean? They kind of like broke your spirit a little bit there. You know what I mean? And like, but they would send you to walk into meetings, bro, with your hand in hand. You know what I mean? Fucking holding shoulder to shoulder. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I remember when I first went to treatment, they used to do that, bro.
Yeah. So I went to first treatment there, and I walked up that thing in the back there at that place. They sat me in a chair, and they said, before you, he goes, let me talk to my group and see if they're gonna accept you into this group here. And I go, what? You got to talk to somebody, bro? This is what the course sent me. He goes, no, hold on here. So I stood at the back door with my bag, bro, and he goes, okay. After he talked to his group, he set up the chairs. He set one chair in the middle, bro. And everybody was sitting around me, bro. And I went and sat in the chair, and he goes, hey, so what's important to you? And I said, man, my kids. He goes, bullshit. What the fuck? Bullshit. You know what I mean? Everything you coming out of your mouth is bullshit. And I go, the fuck? Fuck you guys. You know what I mean? I'm going to get up and go, no, sit back down. You want us to be a part of this? You're going to stay here. Then he goes, do you love your mom? And I said, yeah. And then he said, do you have your mom still? And I said, yeah. He goes, do you love your mom? I said, yeah. He said, bullshit. And everybody's like, right. And after they break your spirit and you fucking just like calm and you accept the fact that that's what they're doing, talking shit to you, they say, okay, welcome. You know what I mean? And they fucking let me into their little group. And I was like, all right, fuck you guys. You know what I mean? All you guys are just talking shit to me. I was holding resentment like a motherfucker, bro. Fresh, you know what I mean? Never been to treatment before, you know what I mean? But that was my introduction to treatment, you know what I mean? And like, we did meetings through the treatment facility, right? And I remember early on, you know what I mean, where I caught a resentment towards an old man, you know what I mean? I wanted to share, and I raised my hand to share, and I started to say shit, and he said, shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down. If we want to hear from the disease, we'll call on you. And I looked at that old white man, I said, I'll beat your fucking dog ass, bro. You know what I mean? You're too old to talk to shit to me like that, you know what I mean? And I had to let that stuff go, and that's when things started to resonate with me, you know what I mean, of how things are out here, you know what I mean? I was so programmed to prison and being institutionalized and getting out here into this real world, you know what I mean? And then when I got with when it was my girl, she was my girlfriend at the time, the dude who introduced me to her, he told me, hey, bro, here's her phone number. She said, it's okay if you text her, because that's all she does is text. She doesn't answer the phone. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, she's always in meetings. And I go, always in meetings? He goes, yeah, that's all she does. And I was like, all right. So, like, I start texting her back and forth, you know what I mean, and this and that. And then I started looking at her Facebook, and then she goes, you want to go to a meeting? I said, yeah. You know what I mean? And one day before she invited me to a meeting, I called, and it was a fluke thing. And she answered. It was my time to shine, bro. You know what I mean? I was spitting left and right. Blah, 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 blah. Do church. You know what I mean? Telling her everything just to trying to win her heart. You know what I mean? Because I liked what I saw. You know what I mean? And something in my spirit, you know what I mean, it already told me. So, like, what ended up happening was I kicked a cylinder brick wall and lacerated the bottom of my foot behind the resentment I had towards my kid's mom, because I was paying her child support, and she was able to, like, still do what she was doing, Holmes, you know what I mean? And, like, and move on, you know what I mean, with the dude that she was being with and all that stuff, you know what I mean? And I was pretty pissed off about it. That she didn't even end up with me and the dude that were trying to kill ourselves over her, you know what I mean? She ended up with someone else. And like, she would tell me, hey, where's the child support or whatever, right? And then I would watch, and I'd end up in the same spot. I'd go to the liquor store where see that fool fucking leaving his car and go to the liquor store, and catch him buying beer, bro. So I'm like, bitch, you're using my child support money to buy beer, you know what I mean? Like, and you're partying, you know what I mean? And so I was pissed off, bro, and I kicked the cylinder brick wall, lacerated the bottom of my foot, and it was May 18th, 2011, and 2 months later, I met her. But, I mean, that was my introduction to getting clean from alcohol. You know what I mean? I found out I was diabetic. And they were going to amputate my leg. And that's my clean date, May 18, 2011.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was hospitalized. They put 2 IVs in me, 1 in each arm with antibiotics. They killed the infection. I was able to, they saved my leg. And I was able to move on, you know what I mean? And like, I started talking to my wife, and she's my wife now, you know what I mean? I started talking to her, and 4th of July, I think it was the 3rd or the 4th of July, you know, we did 4th of July together. And, you know, I really enjoyed, you know, where I was at, you know, at the time. And I still enjoy where I'm at today, you know what I mean? Having her as my wife, you know what I mean? And introducing me to her kids, you know, we went to church, and then I seen that she sang on the church choir, and all this stuff, you know what I mean? And like, she was working out of town at the time, and they would pay for her hotel room. And like, it was my time to, like, you know what I mean? Like, try and get a piece, you know what I mean? Most fathers want to get with the chick, you know what I mean? And smash, you know what I mean? So like, I said, hey, you're working out of town? She's like, yeah, where you at? I'm in Palm Springs, or I'm in Ventura, you know what I mean? And like, the one time she was in Palm Springs, you know what I mean? She's out there by herself, you know what I mean? And like, and then she was working in Ventura, and I said, hey, how about I come up there and see you? You know what I mean? She's like, all right. And just happened to be a double bed, you know what I mean? And like, you sleep over there, and I'll sleep over here. And I'm like, what the fuck? I drove all this way up here, you know what I mean? And I ain't getting none, you know what I mean? And every time I went to push up on it, she was like, look, man, it ain't that it ain't that rodeo here, that kind of rodeo here, man. You know what I mean? I'm a God-fearing woman, you know what I mean? And I want to do things right by my higher power. And I said, all right, cool. So then I had been in a previous relationship, and I was going to propose to this woman, and I had already bought a set of rings, right? And one thing leads to another, and this chick, she worked for armed guard service, you know what I mean? She moved a lot of money, and she used to carry a gun and all that stuff, and kind of fucking like, oh, all right, cool. You know what I mean? You can handle a pistol, you know what I mean? And well, my wife can handle a pistol even better, you know what I mean? But come to find out, you know what I mean? But like, anyways, she fucking I had got some tax money back, you know what I mean? And I was paying her rent, and I was living with her at a time. She owned a house, you know what I mean? And just put a lift kit on a fucking full size fucking Suburban, you know what I mean, for her and everything. She bought the kit, and I had it installed, you know what I mean? And one thing leads to another, and we're driving down the road, bro, and like, I tell her, hey, I'm gonna go to fucking Quaid Harley Davidson and look at this Harley, and she's like, what? I said, yeah, I may buy a Harley, and she fucking jumped out the truck, bro. Well, hold up, homie. I slow down, bro, and she jumps out the truck, bro, and she fucking face plants on the ground, bro. And I stop, and I go back over there, and I pick her up, and I go, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I'm an ex-con, bro, you know what I mean? Like, how are they gonna not prove that I didn't push you off the truck, man? What are you tripping on, you know what I mean? And she's like, you know what? She got in the truck, I took her home, bro. I grabbed my stuff, and I split. That was the last time I seen her. You know what I mean? I said, this bitch is psycho, bro. I'm gonna go to prison behind this bitch, Holmes, you know what I mean? And I'm not having it, Holmes, you know what I mean? So, like, that took place, you know what I mean? And, like, here I am today, you know what I mean? Like, all bullshit aside, you know what I mean? My wife took me to my first meeting in Riverside. And, like, she introduced me to the rooms, you know what I mean? In Riverside, you know what I mean? We went to this meeting. And they say, you stick around here long enough, we'll grow on you. And that's where I'm at, you know what I mean? Like, life has changed for me drastically, man. I no longer surround myself with the people I used to surround myself with. I don't hang out with people. I've had some turn of events, you know what I mean, recently, you know what I mean, with my youngest son, who's been in my life and part of our life it's part of my wife's life since he was 5. And we've raised him, and, you know what I mean, he's had the pleasures of both worlds. His stepdad still smokes, or I don't know if he still does, but, you know what I mean, I went to pick him up here recently a couple years back, and hear someone choking in the background, and he's like, oh, it's my stepdad. And I go, he's smoking in the room with you? He's like, yeah. And I was pissed off about it, you know what I mean? And like, he has siblings that fucking, you know what I mean? That lifestyle the whole lifestyle of drugs and fucking alcohol and all that stuff. I'm sure he's experienced it over there, but he's grown. He's 19 now, and like I started to find out some things, you know what I mean, and he knew that I was gonna be very upset about it because it's not the lifestyle I want him to lead, you know what I mean, and like I've already gone down that road, and you know, she still drinks probably, you know what I mean, and she still does her little thing, you know what I mean. I don't know too much about her and whatever it is that's going on, you know what I mean? All I know is that my son, I hadn't had a relationship with him in the last 2 years, bro, since March. And the reason being is behind a fucking a bow tie and a suit for prom. Yeah, his girlfriend, he has a girlfriend, and she invited him to prom. And like I said, okay, I'll buy the tickets. I went to go pay, and they didn't want to take a card. They wanted cash. And at that time, I couldn't do cash. So I said, hey, I'll get your fucking suit. Tell your grandma to buy the tickets. He said, okay. My grandma bought the tickets. And I went to Men's Warehouse, where Men's Warehouse suits you with everything but the fucking underwear, bro. Socks, everything included from top to bottom, bro. It's going to be like almost $400 for 1 day rental for him, right? And I don't think he understood the amount of time and effort that I was putting into it for not only, it wasn't even for him, it was for him, but I mean, for her, right? And like when I showed him the bow tie, and he's like, oh, she's not going to like it. Well, of course, the bow tie out there on display is fucking dingy, and it's a cream color, right? But it looks a little dingy because everybody's been touching it. I said, they're not going to give you this one. He was like, she's not going to like it. She's not going to like it. We didn't make it to Men's Warehouse. I had already been there and took a picture and told him this is where we're going. I made the appointment for the next day. And well, he didn't eat his breakfast. He pushed his breakfast away. And I'd been paying his phone for the last fucking 8 years. And like, took him back to his grandma's. And on the way to his grandma's, I told him, hey, well, this is what was going on. You know what I mean? She's like, oh, don't worry about it. Just bring him back. You know what I mean? So I brought him back, and fucking I hadn't heard from him since, bro. I had to reach out to him via phone. Nothing. So I disconnect his phone. Not paying the phone that you're not fucking gonna fucking answer me on, bro. You know what I mean? So, and even then the phone was fucking weird because he couldn't call my wife with his phone. Or he couldn't call his grandma with the phone, but he can only text his grandma. But the line's in my name. It was just weird, bro. All the phone shit with his phone was like weird, bro. And I was like, man, that fucking nobody has access to that but me. And it's my fucking phone line, right? And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? So then when I let the grandma know, hey, I terminated his phone, but if you guys want to assume the line, you can go assume it and put it in your lane and she's in your name. And she's like, no, that's fine. So like, yeah, I ain't heard or seen from him. You know what I mean? So like, it's all good. You know what I mean? I'm just grateful for the turns of events that have taken place in my life today. You know what I mean? I get to be of service. You know what I mean? Adam, it's been a great, you've been a great inspiration in my life, you know what I mean? With 11 years clean, you know what I mean? And I remember you early on, you know what I mean? Like you mentioned in the beginning, you know what I mean? I remember you getting shot at, you know what I mean? I remember your cars breaking down and me being able to go over there, and, you know, that's me of being of service, you know, go to help you, you know what I mean? And that's what we do around here. It's one addict helping another without parallel. Mike, you've been a great inspiration in your service with work, you know what I mean? Coming in, you know what I mean? And putting your foot forward, you know what I mean? And it's been a blessing, you know what I mean? I don't do penalties for too many people, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like, that's a big deal for me, you know what I mean? I'm a Pendleton collector today, you know what I mean? And I get to have a few things, you know what I mean? And Narcotics Anonymous is, me being able to work a program has been giving me the opportunity to go into the California Department of Corrections, share my experience, strength, and hope with others through H&I and come home, right? My wife has sent me to a place, you know what I mean? She said, you know what, check it out. You need to get a high school diploma. So I went to school and got a high school equivalency, right, to get the paper, because nowadays you need paper, right? And then she said, you know what, don't stop there. She's been my encourager, my confidant, my best friend. Most of anything, she's been my best friend, bro. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like I can come to her and share with her what I'm feeling at times, you know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to share with her because she tells me some things and I just don't want to accept the fact of what she's telling me, you know what I mean? Coming from my wife anyways, you know what I mean? But she's just telling me the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts, you know what I mean? And like I have a lot of work to do on myself, you know what I mean? I've come a long way. Right now I'm at a point, you know what I mean? Because some people that I haven't dealt with in over 25 years have made full circle at some point. and they're coming back slowly but surely into my life at some point. You know what I mean? And I'm in recovery, and they're still have ties to doing certain things. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, you know, and I have these goals. There's some goals that, you know what I mean? I have a commercial driver's license today. That's what Narcotics Anonymous has done. Even though high-speed chases and all that stuff, you know, my license is clean, which is a blessing. You know what I mean? The program has offered me a lot of things, right? I have some, what do you say? How can you say? Toys or... I'm lost for words when it comes to that. They say finances, romances, and some other shit will fucking take you out. Yeah. Tragedy. But I've gained some things by staying clean. You understand what I'm saying? And doing the right thing. And I learn from others, right? The judging, you know what I mean? You could be Joe Schmo, you know what I mean? And like I'm still gonna look at you and I'm gonna pay attention to your walk and all that because like I'm not a smoke blower. There's a lot of people that blow smoke. Mm-hmm. They'll stand up there and say all kinds of certain things. And, you know, deep down inside, like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I keep it 100. You know what I mean? And not everybody keeps it 100. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell you how I'm feeling, what I'm going through at the time or whatever, because if I hold on to that shit, bro, and I stuff it, it's over. Something's bound to take place. You know what I mean? And, like, I'm not a step guru, but I know where the literature is, and I know what it says when I need it to when I need it. You know what I mean? And like, I have one sponsee, and like most of my way of giving back to the program, who was so freely given to me, is by H&I through hospitals and institutions. And I think that's where my higher powers has me for a reason, because when I don't know about you, but like when you pour into something, like you guys said, I'm loyal, right? Yeah. And like I pour into something, you know what I mean? And sometimes your expectations of a sponsee or the person that you're working with or something, you know what I mean? If they don't give you that back, you know what I mean? It causes, like for me, I get resentments, you know what I mean? And like I've had a sponsee give me some time and we worked not a full set of steps, but he got up to like his fourth step and then he went out and he was gone for 5 years. It didn't come, and when he came back, he's, you know, just like all lost, you know what I mean? And like, and it's painful to see that, you know what I mean? So like, versus me going through that again is, and you kind of question myself, like, fucking, what did I go wrong? Right. What did I do? What didn't I do? Did I not answer the phone? Did I answer the phone? How you know what I mean? How do I deal with it? And then it starts affecting me. Yeah. And I have enough to deal with already, you know what I mean? So like, I need nothing else to affect me today, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know if you guys ever experienced that. You know what I mean? I admire you guys' ability to have a lot of sponsees and a big sponsorship family, you know what I mean? Yeah. But for me, that's just, you know what I mean? That's just how it is for me. And then I'm in a marriage, right? I'm in a marriage. I have a partner, right? And we do a lot of things together. And like I said, she's my best friend, you know what I mean? And for me, the way I see it, you know what I mean? If the sponsee, I wouldn't know how to even guide a sponsee if they're not in a relationship with someone in recovery. Yeah. Because I don't know that. I have a relationship in recovery. We're on the same page here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to give you some misinformation. You know what I mean? Or have the sponsee tell me, oh, what the fuck, that dude just told me, you know what I mean? Like, whoa, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, so I just kind of like, you know what I mean? Keep it simple for me. What works for me. What works for me may not work for everybody else. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, thank you, Gasper, for coming on. We appreciate you. We love you very much. And yeah, you got anything else, Mike?
Yeah. If you could give some advice to somebody struggling, somebody who's in the life, doesn't know how to get out, using against their will, like what would that be for you?
In and out of prison, all that stuff.
So you'd have to set your pride aside. Right? And ego. A lot of us who come from that lifestyle, we're directed by misinformed people. And we're hurt by, I mean, you know, hurt people, you know what I mean? And if we're misdirected, you know what I mean? And if you give yourself a break, that's what they say around here, give yourself a break, right? And allow someone to love you so you can love yourself, right? And if you love yourself enough, and so the lifestyle, that lifestyle is kind of hard to get away from. So you have to go through the proper channels, right? You go to the institution, you do your time, you get out, and it kind of gives you a free slate, right? And if you stay away from them old people, they really don't know what you're doing. They just think you're in jail or somewhere else, right? And then you start doing something different, and you do a little change, right? And not hang out them. And when you see someone from the past, for me, it always comes up, bro. I see them and they're like, "Hey, what's up, bro? I hook you up, bro." And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, bro. I'm doing this." Right? They're like, "All right, nah." And they call me, nah, N-A, nah, right? Mm-hmm. No. So I encourage those who are coming from an institution who've already had some type of moment of clarity, you know what I mean? And you get out and they send you to a program, accept the program, you know what I mean? And allow yourself to get to a meeting where you can hear someone else's experience, strength, and hope. You know what I mean? There's been several people from my area, from my neighborhood, who are actually recovering. You know what I mean? See, you can loiter with the intent to recover in recovery, right? And stay away from certain people. But if you don't do the work,
it doesn't
matter. Yep. It just don't hold. You know
The
what I
problem
mean?
with that is it's tricky because when you just stay away and you take the drugs out and drink the coffee, your life gets better.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, okay, this is all I got to do.
Yeah.
You know? But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, just longevity.
Yeah.
The longevity part is not there, bro.
Yeah.
It's just you're just focusing on the surface. I got the car back. I got you know it's funny. I don't want to take too much time.
No, go ahead.
The first time I went to rehab, right? Me and my baby's mom, we went grocery shopping. And when I left the grocery store, I felt accomplished. I was like, this is the first time I went to the grocery store without whacking her ass with the fucking grocery cart. And I was like, this is what recovery is about. Like, just being able to shop at a grocery store normal. You know what I'm saying? And I thought, like, that was it. I found it, bro. I'm cured. We're not fighting in here. I'm not fucking hitting her with a fucking shopping cart. Like, everything's fucking good now. You know? Yeah, fucking sick.
He's funny. He said the shopping cart, bro. My brother seen me when I was in. That's another one. When I was married to my kid's mom, my first marriage. My brother goes, "What are you doing, bro? I seen you walking down Baseline and fucking Waterman with a shopping cart full of fucking groceries, bro." And he goes, "That's not you." And I go, "You're right. It's not." Yeah.
Well, thank you, Gasper. We appreciate you coming.
Yep. Thank you, Gasper. Anybody who's listening, please like, comment, subscribe. Share Gasper's story with anybody who needs to hear it. Make sure you follow us on IG at the Messages Hope Podcast. And
if you have somebody that you think would be an interesting guest on the show, or you need some resources, or just need to reach out to somebody, you can hit us up on the social media or the Messages Hope Podcast at gmail.com. See you guys next week.
I just hope my time's right. Lost up in the limelight, but you'll never know unless you walked up in my shoes.
As someone who struggled with addiction in the past, how does it feel to be able to give hope to others who are still struggling now?
You know, it's such an honor to be able to hear other people's experiences of life, to see how when faced with the very thing that was sent to destroy you, kill you, and take you out forever didn't, but rather you have been given a second chance to give hope and be a light for those who are still in the dark. So don't be afraid to share your message to the world. You never know whose life you might be saving.